Real quick, one more second. Stop. Okay. Honestly, this is a surreal moment. This community has been my home, and I've met some of my best friends here, people that I care about immensely, and it's something I've been deeply involved in for the past 8 years. So knowing this is my last round it's humbling, and it's an absolute honor to be here in front of a lot of judges I respect, in front of a lot of people that are some of my best friends, debating a team that I consider to be one of the best, that I respect immensely as people and as debaters. I want to thank the University primarily of Minnesota first. DCH, you run an excellent tournament. Honestly, the Minnesota team is one of my favorite teams after Minnesota AL found their way into my heart, and everyone else from Minnesota is phenomenal. You all ran an excellent tournament. Everyone here behind the scenes, even the staff, just phenomenal. You made this tournament work. Everything was perfect. I obviously have to thank my parents, my mom and dad. Finally made their way to a tournament at the ADA, and that meant the world to me, having them watch. And honestly, they didn't really know a lot about debate, so they were really confused, but I was so happy that they got to see that, and they've put out so much just for me to go to camp, and it means the world to me. I want to thank just the teams we've debated through ELIMS, UNLV, AW, Michigan, Harvard, Wake, and obviously y'all. I mean, it's been an incredible experience. Every single one of you is so deserving and so incredible, and I have so much respect for you. Coaches, it takes a team to get this far, and it is ridiculous to imagine that we just cut all the cards and did everything by ourselves, because we could not be here without people like Hayes and the rest of the coaching staff, which I'll talk a little bit more in depth about. But I just deeply, deeply appreciate all of that work. I want to thank my high school coaches, our coach, Ned Granville. He was also the swim coach, if that gives you an indication of the kind of school that I came from. It was small, we had basically no program, but he introduced me to debate. Genuinely one of the nicest people I've ever met, had amazing times traveling and eating at every Cracker Barrel around the country, which are memories I'll cherish forever. Ed, Ned, and Hayes, they keep the program going. Hayes has made this program one of the strongest that it has been in recent history. He is an incredibly hard worker. Just him and I butt heads a lot, and we have over the years. Our personalities are kind of different, but cannot be here and would not have been able to get here without all the work that he puts in and everything that he does. Rothenbaum, I think this is a really kind of even highlighted by Johnny, is just one of the most special people on our team. He spends so much time working with us, gave up his entire spring break to just cut cards with us in the office. The wheels would fall off without him. I mean, we would have nothing against the critique. We would have nothing against anything, honestly. Like, he is so essential to our team, and to exclude him from this would be a complete injustice. Not only is he an amazing coach, he is an even more amazing friend. He's become one of my really close friends. We hang out a lot, and I'm gonna miss him a lot. I have to thank Becca. She's my debate mom. She always provides me with Advil and whatnot, common, helpful mantras and judge notes, and everything she does is so useful. Clay and Steven, Hart, Logan, all of you are so important working behind the scenes. You're hilarious. You keep my spirits high. Katie, incredible debater on our team. I've known her for years on the Georgia circuit. She's done so much for us. Sammy, who was on our team last year, did a lot of work with us, and she means a lot to me. Other than that, for teammates, there's a lot of people behind the scenes: Miriam, Golner, Josh, Yuki, Morgan, a bunch of other novices. I really appreciate everything y'all do. Stay out cutting cards for us and just doing your best, and that means a lot to me. I have a lot of past partners because I'm a lot to deal with. In high school, I had a girl named Yuna. She was the sweetest ever. Steve, sweet Akshay, which was a pleasure debating with him. Freshman year, I debated with Tucker Boyce, crikey, as he would say. UGABR was a wild ride, and I enjoyed every minute of it, mostly, in retrospect. UGA, HH, Tripp, and Alyssa, you all are so phenomenal and incredible. It's an absolute honor to be on a team with you. You broke and you proved what everyone should know, that you are an amazing, phenomenal team. And Alyssa, you're my fellow 2A. You do so much work for me, and you're an incredible debater, a great chef, and an awesome friend. I've known you since high school, and that's just so awesome watching you blossom. Trip, you're, like Johnny said, one of the smartest people, and hardworking, you're kind. I love hanging out with you in Hilton Head. It's a lot of fun. It was a pleasure. AR, this is really personal just because they've been with us from the beginning. It's been us four, and constantly around each other, and it means so much to me that we got to go to the NDT together and be in Elims together, and it just means so much to me that they were there through it all. Swapnil, he's been my roommate. He's one of the nicest people ever. He's so smart, and smarter than anyone here. He's going to Harvard. And he's genuinely one of my best friends. Advite, you're one of the best debaters in the country. You're incredible, you're smart, you're nice. Thank you so much for the past couple of years. Obviously, Johnny, you're my best friend, and I care so much about you. I wake him up at 2 a.m. to talk about answering ESR and shit. There are so many moments that I will never forget with him that have meant the world to me, and I just thank you so much. And thank you especially to all the judges. You all have been so formative and helpful, and all of you I respect immensely. And I'm ready to give my speech now. It's been sent. It'll be the NPT advantage.
Sorry, can you hold on a second, Mike? I got kicked off. I got kicked off the Wi-Fi. You know what? You can do it first, and then I'll pull it up. That'd be great.
Okay. NPT advantage.
Yeah.
The arms control advantage. Topicality. The necessary improv. Counterplan. The ex post or ex ante counterplan. The USMCA disad, the War Powers disad, the Oversight disad, the Nuclear disad.
Give me a second for this.
Yeah, go for it.
There you go.
All right. Is everyone good? Awesome. Authoritarian states are rare, even if there's some spoilers. Maintaining the norm means there's no cascade, which is the covenants. Yes, there's proliferation. They have no evidence. Dozens of states have capabilities of South Korea, Brazil, Egypt, Libya, etc. But all spiral or co-evidence is phenomenal. That's why security dilemma means that they go in a world without the NPT. Proliferation causes extinction, increases conflicts, crisis, instability, acts, ensure nuclear calculation. That's the chronic evidence. References assume fast proliferation from a world without the NPT. Middle East war goes nuclear weak constraint mechanisms and tensions draw Russia and China, which is the evidence is super qualified as a scholar, international relations, and a Nobel Peace Prize winner, which is super important. Obviously, nations like Russia and China have a strategic interest in the region because it's a major geopolitical hotspot, and they have interest for things like oil, so they're fucking Google shit. They have to read a card on this question. Yes, Iran's going to develop nuclear weapons. Negotiable evidence is phenomenal. It sends recent purchases of centrifuges. Even if they don't get the bomb, they're going to enrich, which evidence significantly causes a war. The arms control advantage. Arms control is good. It's key to locking in competitive use. Edge over Russia and China. Merchant technology, R18 arms control, build military technology, tech advantage, use later to offset the Soviet advantage, conventional weapons by arms control means Soviet military, America's military, tech competitiveness to take the basic key military, tech developments, promoting competition and denying the ability to arms control, allow the United States to slow competition until a more favorable circumstance. Arms control does not need military competition for it to be effective. Arms control restrictions can be diligent further competitive advantage. Also, U.S. advantage is not going to last. The clear evidence is other nations are going to beat us to try or die for rules of the road. Yes, AI makes AI is a threat. It makes war hyperfast, risk escalation dynamics, and predictive attacks. Yes, it is being integrated. Our evidence is predictive, and the evidence just says it might be difficult to conceptualize, but our evidence is super qualified. Yes, yes, we don't stop all AI, so their cyber stuff is non-responsive defensive AI, and things like cyber threats can resolve Also, this is an offense because we independently stop a cyber race by implementing norms as per the clear evidence, emerging technology, risk extinction, uncontrolled escalation ladders, and threats of second strike. Yes, there's a cyber impact which was conceded leads to nuclear escalation amongst other nations. Hypersonic impact. They make rapid strikes of enemy forces possible that crushes strategic stability and causes preemptive strikes. It does work. The clear evidence says that this technology can be developed and is predictive on these questions. China's developments are enough to trigger it, and our evidence says that those can be attained through rules of the road. Topicality, we need to have prohibits nuclear force striking 70 plus nuclear, non-nuclear countries. Restriction means a limited effect, not prohibition. Encompass 11 restriction make more onerous. Restriction cannot be made prohibition. Restrictions suggest a limited effect in means within not throughout rare sheet 13 in indicate inclusion within space or within or limits. Areas part of the broader whole. 89 area or selections have some limiting have some specified function. Vote app versus app like interpretation means only 5 topical apps which severely constrains app innovation and creative research in the NDT. App innovation prevents stale debates and correcting unprecedented structural neg bias. Their interpretation forces the app to walk into the loaded gun of the negative on picks and forces incongruent affirmatives with no unifying solvency, having a predictability. Their interpretation is a random subsection of loss with no intent to define nearly all. Is in the difference in surveillance stems proves it's a manufactured nonsense. No limits of groundness at large. Limitations are sufficient to ensure negative ground. Substantial the resolution of functional limits and lid checks their explosion reasonability prohibits nuclear using as 80 countries. Get the fuck out of here. Read the same African readings as GSU against you, so you should be fucking kissing your asses. The oldest substance trial, which is worse. The necessary proper count and permutation do both shields the elite the internal benefit. The plan can add the condition of getting struck down if the counting can do that as well. Permutation do the plan and have the Supreme Court in the United States strike down these statutes, ruling them unconstitutional on the grounds that the term proper and the necessary and proper clause limits congressional action. Permutation do the economic condition on voting issue 2 see stretching for support allocation means we can't read our best offense that kills fairness links to all of the other stuff that is not the internal benefit that is not the internal benefit because they're defunding the entire arsenal that would explode the NPT out as a proliferate paying all 17 U.S. news providing unique assurance of allies. Allies fully reject the notion that non-nuclear capabilities are adequate with U.S. reduces its roles in nuclear production security. Perceptions will change rapidly and lead to the largest proliferation of deterrence requires 75% credibility to assure allies that perceptions of declining U.S. credibility could lead allies to pursue nuclear capabilities. Also, the president will still retain authority to use the threatened nukes, which means he'd circumvent the cabinet through slush funds. 1216 slush funds include congressional oversight. Congress knows little about this money. Agencies collected $560 billion. President Griffin, well, Congress has long been that problem. The CP doesn't solve arms control. It doesn't change the Senate. It doesn't change the Senate precedent on this question, which is wise evidence. It doesn't. No one comes to the table because they don't think that the United States is going to do the treaty process. Ratification causes nuclear modernization, which is the root evidence, which kills the NPT. Independently can't solve. Also, they can't solve our second internal link on the arms control advantage, which is about non-nuclear states, which only stopping pointing nuclear evidence at them is able to resolve. The internal net benefit is ridiculous. Their evidence is super old. There's no reason. That's why reviving the necessary proper clause in this one case spills over to all the things all issues of federalism. Trump's act of sanctuary cities act federalism in the past. Will 17 Trump's action against sanctuary cities is constitutional vandalism, violent separation of powers, starts order, designing the federal coalition of states and undermining separation of powers. Obviously, the impact should have already happened. If federalism has been terminally screwed, their evidence says the states are still investing in great capabilities. There's no issue spill over Lincoln's answer. Some control bargaining between state and federal parts of zero sum federalism. Rural examples show that the state and federal authority is on their question of negotiation of relationship between state and federal power has departed from zero sum. Congress and vulnerable to class. Radiger, 16 utilities have spent every year spend billions of dollars over the electoral power infrastructure systems. The North American utility industry has spent billions implementing reliable measures of production and redundancy are to provide design experiences without wide range of area outages and capacity failures have led to constant improvements in the control systems and design redundancy. Consider investments study and efforts are being explored to identify vulnerabilities and secure the grid that counter the next count on permutation due the CP. The plan doesn't specify an ex post CEA, so the process the plan could literally just be to have Trump go negotiate those agreements, resubmit them, and then have them pass links to the war powers disadvantage. The link evidence they read is about reiterating checks on Congress and doing checks that restrict presidential authority, which is what this would do. So you can withdraw. You can withdraw from ex ante CEAs and not ex post CEAs. So only the plan sends incredible signals. CRSA 1884 makes ex ante agreements. Presidents sometimes have unilateral terminated the agreements, but for the CEAs that are approved by Congress after they are entered into by the president, they are based on the exclusive congressional powers, and Congress must approve the termination. The president cannot terminate the domestic effect of the implementing legislation. The USMCA disadvantage. Gems will block it now. Sponsor 3 Terms will get revised after through Congress. Internal provision governing IP for by the Democrats have made it clear that they will not approve the deal with similar Congress drug reductions. How to take the process for TVP and the PLC will not pass the deal without stricter enforcement. Sitting here, Democrats describe the bill as low priority. Also, they affirm it's not a controversial restriction, which means Trump won't veto it. China and Obama's declaratory policy was precisely in the 20 nuclear project of the United States not use nuclear weapons against non-nuclear states. Also, lawmakers will compartmentalize the issues, however, maintain in turmoil. McConnell held by President Jimmy even as Senators overcapitalized. The same breath, lawmakers stand by themselves and over major issues. You had unfortunately we have major bipartisan reports on other lawmakers compartmentalize their disputes. Also, this is Trump's emergency declaration kills his PC pit on 2021. Trump is political weakness personified the negotiation skills of this master dealmaker when he laughed out of the high school model UN commerce between the profoundly popular emergency declaration fiasco Mueller. This president's political standing is shrinking like a snowman in the Sahara. Trump can cancel an act which means he has to leverage. They have read a card of this snow and give back to an energy snow 18 USMCA. So additional uncertainty into larger scale projects oil and gas supply on the dispute over resolutions of NAFTA to calm investor curves. USMCA does not radically alter the business landscape for energy for the energy industry. We have shale, which means we're energy independent now, which solves the war power system and restrictions are an foreign policy oversight investigation. investigation came at all. 130 Trump, fixing numbers for Congress and both parties, secret to assert also foreign policy, Republicans are challenging the administration on foreign policy. McConnell, reviewing Trump's decision to pull out Syria's troops from Syria and Afghanistan. The top officials flat, take national emergency. Also, judicial checks on never allowed the president that stalls. Blocking about 17 trouble China, the change office of the presidency. Treasury Wars have often reviewed judges who refuse to rule with Trump. That is shifting Trump into the future presidential issue. Under theories of executive power, questions will continue to crop up in the armed conflict, detention, and prosecution of enable and surveillance. A plan that doesn't require change in executive policy and current treaties like the Latin America Treaty. Trump's Congress will refuse additional oversight. February 14th, there's less attention made to the extraordinary consensus behind Congress support President's war. The President's war. Congress does not want to pick up the constitutional tools, so the seems most hope official application will reverse current political environment. Asking the President even more cover to push unilateral action on nuclear weapons, technical barriers prevent bioweapons. When we're 18, we're creating a virus that requires considerable knowledge and financial support requires environmental experiments, synthesis DNA, create out with expensive instruments, expensive instruments. The oversight disadvantage you need is overwhelming stems will just not get funding. Goal 18, Democrats are fighting multiple fronts to block Trump from developing new TWs. Democrats more broadly back to the amendment that was for the illegal nuclear warhead. Democrats are ultimately opposed to it. Our current policy has to be known to every circumstances. Smith will attend the long-term policy nuclear weapons for modernization. The top right fighting voice for opposition. Democrats disarmament advocates. Democrats would continue to be fighting this. Through this administration beyond infinite numbers or evidence is super generic from 2010 Mueller report, constant fights with Trump, etc. They can obviously vote on the plan and go back to oversight on budget issues and prevent this from thumping. No impact. We survive here's low ratings. NSN, the lack of accountability, Iraq, left off our forces flying short facing shortfalls in both recruitment and readiness. The current demand for our forces is not sustainable. Making brigades back into Afghanistan and Iraq where not where they needed to be. The army has been forced to lower standards and allow felons into its rank. Also, budget cuts up and so does sequestration, which proves the nuclear disadvantage. The NPT is crucial global nuclear bomb. Changing 18 nuclear energies made possible. Companies the NPT providing the share corporation and nuclear regime confront success of the NPT regime that has guaranteed that our wars and stable international markets for the market for supply that is further risking the nuclear corporation and present future with non-proliferation principles are compromised by production. High nuclear safety standards is an essential factor for ensuring the continued access to piece of nuclear technology. We have highlighted our Kumar evidence. It's historical. It says nations like China had trouble in the past getting those supplies. It concludes later that the NPT is not a problem for those countries now. If they, when uniqueness, it disproves their length. If there's a nuclear renaissance now, then structural factors are overwhelming any negative impact the NPT has on it. Nuclear power is dying now. So sir, it'll be actually 19th this year of nuclear. The world fell endlessly fell, reaching a 33-year low because the technology stagnating. Nuclear power is doing the opposite trajectory of renewable energy. Germany, Korea, Belgium, and Switzerland planning to phase on nuclear power grids. That's going to reduce its reliance on the United States, Japan, UK, Canada, Sweden. Nuclear is losing ground to renewable China, India, and UAE, and Saudi Arabia. Expansion of nuclear power will be negligible. Market negligible. There's no impact to climate change. Mendelsohn, 9. The climate change threat is long as misleading. Climate change is extremely low probability. The consequences of emissions over the next decade will lead to impact consequences of no mitigation. Economics assume no adaptation. Mendelssohn's market adaptation. Let me just get that over.
Ready?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Block Weba 17.
Yeah.
Predates the newest appointment of a conservative justice. Also, the warrant in this card is that Trump is going to push the bounds of his authority, and the courts will inevitably push back. He has been pushing the bounds of his authority. When is the court going to push back?
Our evidence says that there's going to be cases on things like detention, and armed forces.
Why would the conservative court rule against Trump on those issues?
I think this evidence takes into account a conservative court. I think the person appointed didn't really upset the balance significantly.
You don't think Kavanaugh upset the balance significantly?
I'm sure, but the court was pretty conservative before that.
You
Our evidence
replaced
says even
Kennedy.
a conservative court doesn't
Who was
want
the
Trump
swing
to
vote?
use these authorities.
Okay. The other checks now card, Kim et al. 130. Do you have any evidence? Like, I agree. So this card says that there's a bunch of fights that are happening. Our link is not about fights. Our link is about authority defeats. Do you have any evidence that says that the president will lose any of these fights about authority?
On which decide are you talking about? I'm sorry.
You read this checks now card on war powers from January 30th that says that the parties are adversarial and that they are challenging the administration. Do you have a card that says that they will win the challenge?
It says that people in both parties are challenging that across both houses, which means that we think that some legislation will pass that restricts the president.
The only example is that McConnell rebuked Trump's decision to pull back troops from Syria and Afghanistan, which did not...
They're eager to assert themselves on a matter of foreign policy and oversight.
Why does that mean that there will be authority restrictions? The separation of powers hasn't changed at all.
There is major incentive for that.
They're yelling a bunch, but the separation of powers distribution has not changed at all.
I don't think that there's a meaningful difference between the plan and that. The plan is like Trump can't nuke Africa.
Right, which is a constraint on his power.
Sure, but there's been constraints on presidential powers in the past.
There's been constraints on presidential powers in the past.
Come on.
Okay. The ex-ante CEA counterplan.
Yeah.
So your CRS evidence says that things that were dubiously congressional executive agreements have been withdrawn from by the president. And the example that is invoked by other parts of this card is like the Paris Agreement. This person is going for like the Paris Agreement was an ex-ante CEA because there was legislation that happened in the past.
Paris
the counterplan.
Is not ex-ante CEA.
Well, That's what this person. What evidence or what examples is this person invoking then for ex-ante CEAs that the president has withdrawn from?
I think there was the UN Council on either I don't know. It's the one the Cultural Council in the United Nations. That was an ex-ante CEA that we withdrew from.
You sure? I'm pretty sure that was a treaty.
No, it was a CEA.
This evidence is talking about international trade,
Okay, so there have been trade agreements that have been terminated that were ex-ante CEAs.
like NAFTA.
I'm not sure if NAFTA was ex post or ex ante, but NAFTA has not been terminated.
Sure.
I don't know.
10? Yep.